Hello everyone, welcome to Cheongfuli Weekly Report. Here we bring you the latest China's steel market prices and analysis every week. This week, sentiment in the steel market weakened and the prices of some varieties declined. The spot price of domestic hot-rolled coils rose by 10 yuan per ton this week, while the price of rebar fell by 40 yuan per ton this week. At the macro level, the Federal Reserve kept its monetary policy unchanged at its interest rate meeting. The progress of tariff negotiations has been slow, and the United States has only reached an agreement with the United Kingdom, which is the first country to do so. At the same time, the impact of tariffs on trade has become increasingly evident. Coupled with the anti-dumping policies of various countries, the expectations for overseas trade are unstable, and the market has a poor outlook for steel exports in the future. Domestically, the reduction of the reserve requirement ratio and interest rates has been implemented, and there has been some structural interest rate reduction. However, it has not fundamentally solved problems such as employment, consumption, and the real estate market. After the sentiment peaked, it has declined. At the industrial end, the profits of steel mills were maintained during the holiday period. The weekly output of the 5 major steel products declined, with a reduction of 95 out of 200 tons. The reduction in output was mainly concentrated in short-process steel mills, and the production of rebar decreased significantly. On the demand side, affected by the holiday and rainfall, the apparent demand for rebar declined more than expected, with a weekly decline of 791,800 tons. The apparent demand for other varieties of the 5 major steel products also declined to varying degrees. With the arrival of the seasonal off-season, the market has great concerns about the future demand for steel, and a large number of short positions for hedging have emerged in the futures market. In terms of inventory, the inventory of the 5 major steel products increased after the holiday, and the concern in the market about the decline in demand after May is gradually becoming a reality. Currently, although there are still many export orders, especially the data on domestic billet export orders has been relatively large recently, which is also the reason why the molten iron production remains above 2.4 million tons per week. However, as the peak demand season is coming to an end, the room for the increase in steel prices is further suppressed. Moreover, before the Sino-US game is finally resolved, there will be many fluctuations at the macro level. Therefore, after May, the judgment on steel prices is still cautiously bearish. At least, we need to observe the speed of inventory accumulation during the off-season for steel to further consider whether there is room for a rise in steel prices in the future. After the steel prices fell this week, we should pay attention to the speed of steel inventory accumulation in the coming days, and it is recommended to replenish inventory mainly according to demand. In terms of institutional analysis, the supply and demand performance of rebar and hot-rolled coils has remained relatively stable recently. However, as the off-season approaches, export expectations are projected to weaken and high production levels fail to provide price support. Additionally, macroeconomic sentiment continues to exert downward pressure. Consequently, even if an oversold rebound occurs, a sustained price reversal is unlikely. Therefore, the market is expected to maintain a weak consolidation trend in the near term. In conclusion, with the approach of the demand off-season, it is still recommended that those with rigid demand replenish their inventory mainly according to their actual needs. In terms of varieties, billets and coil products are recommended. Okay, feel free to leave your thoughts, questions, or any related inquiries in the comment box below. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to follow us for more updates. See you next week.